With the cancellation of BlizzCon this year, the prospect of going a whole holiday period with no announcement seemed pretty likely at first. And to be honest, it wouldn't have been that surprising because there isn't really a whole lot to announce, at least nothing glaringly obvious. Diablo 4 has literally just launched its brand new expansion. Overwatch 2 is still chugging along despite its controversy on failing to deliver certain promises a while ago. Hearthstone's still just there. And when it comes to WoW, Classic servers, both regular and hardcore, are still doing their thing. Cataclysm Classic has just hit the Firelands patch. And for retail, well, Blizzard went and blew their entire load in our faces last year when they dropped 3 expansions in one go. But nevertheless, of all the years for a BlizzCon to be cancelled, like really, this one? Like you've got the 20th anniversary of WoW, it's the 30th anniversary of Warcraft in general. I mean, what a shit year to cancel BlizzCon. Anaheim would have been popping off. Talk about a missed opportunity. However, Blizzard does seem to have realised this as well, hence the announcement of the Warcraft 30th Anniversary Direct, a live show from Anaheim to be viewed remotely, where we can expect a concert, various theatrics, and new Warcraft-related announcements. So hey, we are getting something, but it's just slightly more reminiscent of perhaps BlizzCon line. But what could these announcements be? What does Blizzard have in store for us? Here are 7 things to expect, I think, from WoW's 30th Anniversary Direct, maybe. Number 1, Warcraft II Remaster. So this one's obviously a sure bet because we've seen some artwork of it that's been leaked online. With Warcraft 3 having been given its own remaster a couple years back, albeit not to the best reception, a remaster of its predecessor makes total sense and a perfect opportunity to do it right and redeem themselves for the mediocre state that Warcraft 3 Remastered was presented to us in. Notice how it's called Warcraft 2 Remastered and not Reforged like the Warcraft 3 one was, perhaps an intentional move to distance itself from the disaster Warcraft 3 Reforged turned out to be. However, it would appear that Blizzard's not completely trying to bury any evidence of Reforged existing, as a new 2.0 build for Warcraft 3 Reforged was recently found on Blizzard's internal PTR, which was quickly taken down again. Could this mean one more shot at doing Warcraft 3 right along with a Warcraft 2 remaster? I mean, hey, at that point, you might just fucking chuck Warcraft 1 in there as well. Although at that point, we might need a bit more than a lick of paint and probably a whole new remake. Number 2, 11.1 Deep Dive. With 11.07 already announced and the Forbidden Reach, Siren Isle unveiled, there's nothing really anything new to show there. Sure, we still need to find out a release date for it and have a little bit more context given to us regarding the Isle. But with the nuts and bolts of that patch already out in the public domain, this perfectly sets up the stage to give us our first glimpse at 11.1 along with its new raid, Mythic Plus dungeon pool, new delves, and new zone. And hey, maybe even a mega dungeon too, who knows? Now, with speculation on what this could be, we could go in circles for hours, but if Siren Isle's predominant demographic is anything to go by, plus the fact that data miners have revealed that Gazlo's got a shiny new model, expect a very goblin-themed tier. Maybe some Heron here too, I don't know. Which leads on to my next prediction. 2025 roadmap for WoW. So Blizzard tried out a new strategy in 2024, after years of criticism of not quite being communicative enough with the player base, and in the second half of Dragonflight decided to give us a detailed roadmap which concisely laid out everything to expect from WoW for the year ahead. And this approach went down an absolute treat with the community, who clearly appreciated the transparency and insight into Blizzard's plans, as well as simply just the foresight into what sort of patch cadence to expect. I'd be incredibly surprised after the warm reception that the last one got if we don't get another one this time around. And with 2025 practically around the corner, I'd be willing to bet good money it'll be coming on Wednesday. We do already know Plunderstorm will be the first notch on that calendar, with that set to drop in January, with 11.1 probably following soon after. But it'll be interesting to see when Blizzard envisions dropping 11.2, 11.3, and at the tail end of the year, perhaps even a midnight release date. Metzen did make it quite clear when he unveiled the World Soul Saga that these expansions were going to be chucked out faster than usual, and end of 2025 and early 2026 would line up with this theory. However, I will temper my expectations on this one. Early 2026 does seem a lot more likely, and gives Blizzard the perfect excuse to omit it from the roadmap, because let's be honest, I don't think they're in any position at this point to give a definitive window when all their focus is at this early stage of the War Within, hopefully on the War Within. So as tantalizing as a midnight release window would be, I'd rather Blizzard just didn't start writing out checks their ass can't cash. I mean, there are still bugs in this expansion that haven't been fixed. Let's just focus on the War Within for now. And not only are we only barely a season into the War Within, it also hasn't been that long since we had to fork out 70 quid or 90 bucks to get into this game early. So seeing a little midnight icon at the end of the 2025 roadmap, reminding us how that $90 purchase will be soon at the end of the year completely redundant and we'll have to make a whole new purchase all over again, probably would do a bit more harm than good. However, if we are looking at an early 2026 release for Midnight, then that inevitably puts the alpha and the beta in 2025. So while we probably won't see a little notch in the roadmap for a Midnight release, we probably will see a little notch indicating when the alpha and the beta is coming, which, you know, is nice. Number 4. A new remix event, and specifically, Legion. Right, now I'll tell you why I think this. First and foremost, this image. I don't personally think this is a coincidence. Yes, Illidan is a beloved character in the Warcraft universe and is a more than adequate poster boy for a celebration of Warcraft turning 30. But to have him and him only in isolation, quiet so in our faces, plastered on this, to promote the event, it seems oddly specific for someone who's not relevant in the current story whatsoever. Yes, I know we've got another one for the 3-day countdown with some random Void Elf holding a Hearthstone card. But just stick with me. For someone who's not relevant in the current story whatsoever, it's a bit of a weird decision. And if we look at the poster for the WoW 20th anniversary event, which at first thought did make me think we're about to get a fucking Marvel crossover, features characters relevant to current content front and center in the foreground. So look, we've got Thrall there, you've got Anduin, exactly as he looks on the wall with him with the sword. You've got Alex Strada, who's relevant an expansion ago. You've got Xalatath, obviously. You've got Sylvanas, I guess she was relevant not too long ago, but she's now on the mall now doing her time. And yes, I know what you're about to say. Fieldy, you fucking idiot. Illidan's literally right there in that poster as well. To which I'd say, yes, I know, I can see that, you little prick. But in that one, he's just there in the background watching on from a distance with Arthas and Gul'dan. He's not quite as obnoxiously in our faces as he is in this one. So yeah, I could be reading into it, but like, oh, I don't fucking care. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But say you do agree with me. You then might say, well, hang on, yeah, we've got Illidan's. It might just be a Burning Crusade remix. Which would be a fair assessment, but to be honest, I don't think the Burning Crusade has fully gone through its player-based burnout cooldown. Burning Crusade Classic wasn't too many moons ago. Retail players have been smashing out Black Temple, you know, the signature raid of Burning Crusade, in Time Walking for the past few years. Where better place to take Remix next than not only an expansion that really hasn't had any revisiting in any shape or form, but an expansion that is widely regarded as the golden age of retail WoW.
It is not yours to take.
The light will heal your scars.
I am my scars.
The light is your destiny.
My destiny is my own.
Oh, it was so good. Yeah, it might have been the precursor to that awkward borrowed power era, which really did get out of hand. As well as the era of making ults pointless with unnecessarily difficult legendary acquisition, which eventually turned into the... Oh, you know what? I can't even look at it. No, just never mind. Next slide. But you get my point. Legion holds a special place in everyone's hearts and was so widely revered that, as a reminder, even Asmongold actually liked WoW at this point. Legion Remix would 100% bring in a huge audience, and after using MoP as a guinea pig to test the waters with such a venture, Blizzard now has the chance to reflect on lessons learned from it and iron out the creases to bring us an even better remix, taking place in an expansion that truly does deserve quality. Not that Mr. Pandaria didn't deserve that, but hey, I mean, MoP Classic's probably going to be on the way. Oh, fuck, I've gone on to spoil the next one. Which brings me on to my next prediction. I've already ruined it. Just show the graphic. Yeah, MoP Classic, there we go. Now, it might be a tad early for this to be announced because Cataclysm Classic hasn't been here that long. It only dropped this summer, and it's about, what, a week into the Firelands raid, so a little early. However, the scope for new Classic expansions, they're not exactly huge. It's just re-releasing old content, and it won't exactly be out of left field. It's naturally just the next entry in the series, so won't be surprising, but would be nice just to get an acknowledgement from Blizzard if it's happening or not, because obviously a lot of people do see Cataclysm as the final entry into the Classic era, so just a little acknowledgement from Blizzard to even confirm we are getting MoP Classic probably would go down well. But if it is coming, you know what that means. That Warlock, who famously ninja'd the Ashbringer off of Stay Safe way back when in the final week of Burning Crusade Classic, which, to clarify, was anyone's last chance to get that, with the sole reasoning that he was holding it in his bags for when MoP Classic came around, at which point he'd finally be able to have his summoned demon equip it as a transmog.
You're a Warlock for Mr. Pandaria Classic.
So he'll finally be able to do exactly that. Good things do come to those who wait. And if there's any reason I hope MoP Classic gets announced, it's for that guy. Like, for the patience on this bloke. Number 6, Classic Plus, or rather, Improved Season of Discovery. So a lot of sentiments online suggest a lot of Classic players are praying for a Classic Plus announcement, which is slightly sad if you think about it, because Season of Discovery quite clearly was Blizzard's answer to the demand for Classic Plus, so if players are yet again asking for Classic Plus, it's indicative that Season of Discovery didn't quite hit the spot. But when you say Classic Plus, what is Classic Plus? What quantifies Classic Plus? Well, before Season of Discovery was even announced, the player base's vision for Classic Plus seemed to entail new zones and pretty much going in the direction where Blizzard released new Classic expansions, creating this sort of alternate universe where we didn't even head to Outland and then Northrend, but other places entirely with completely different stories, all maintaining the Classic theme, and as time goes on, not transitioning the game into the fast-paced dopamine slot machine it eventually became. But do I think Classic Plus, or the vision for Classic that players so dearly hope for, will eventually materialize? Yes and no. If any sort of semblance of Classic Plus does get eventually released, I don't see it becoming a standalone server. We already have Classic Era, Classic Hardcore, Season of Discovery, Cataclassic. Do we really need another Classic server to add to the Battle.net client? Not to mention that this venture would pretty much invalidate Season of Discovery, where a lot of time and resources have already gone into bringing that around in the first place. If we even do get anything remotely close to a Classic Plus, it will be within Season of Discovery. Season of Discovery has already been set up and established as a sort of alternate universe 2 classic, giving us new ways to play, adding content and playstyles that were completely out of left field. So if you want to expand on what's already been experimented with in Season of Discovery, where better place to bring it than Season of Discovery? But what could Season of Discovery even bring to fill that Classic Plus shaped hole in players' hearts that they're so dearly longing to be filled? A new continent, along with a new storyline? Season of Discovery's own expansion, offering new content that has never nor will ever be found in retail? I guess we'll see, but hey man, I hope you Classic players finally get the forever iteration of Classic that you guys so clearly want, so my best to you. Number 7, movie or TV show? Now, I saved this one till last because this one is really very speculative, based on no tangible evidence whatsoever. But I'm calling it now in case I am right, because if I am right, I can flex this in a couple of days. Now, we did have a Warcraft movie. Didn't exactly do great. I remember taking one of my best mates to the midnight screening in London the day it came out. And yeah, I mean, it was alright. I mean, my mate, she's never touched anything Warcraft related, and she loved it. Albeit, as much as it clearly tried to, it didn't do quite a good enough job of introducing the context of the story so far for newcomers. It was very much for the fans, which is one of the main reasons I think it flopped. And not making newcomers feel alienated is kind of exactly what you need to do if you're going to invest $100 million into a movie. You've got to make it for everyone, not just the small contingent that plays WoW. So personally, I don't foresee a second attempt at a movie just yet, but what I do perhaps foresee is a TV show, and an animated one at that. So we got a small taste recently of what Warcraft would look like if this would happen, with the animated cinematic leading up to the War Within's launch depicting Illyria and Sylvanas. It was a very particular hand-drawn animation style, and it kind of went down pretty well with the community. Like, a lot of people loved the style. It was very late 70s, 80s hand-drawn style. I'll put a picture of the thing I'm thinking of here that it reminds me of. So could this cinematic have been a little teaser or foreshadowing of more of this to come? Yeah, why not? I'm calling it now. I don't fucking care. Animated show coming to Netflix next year. So those are my 7 predictions for WoW's 30th Anniversary Direct. Some a little more likely than others, I'll admit. But hey, it's all a bit of fun. But what do you guys think? Are there any obvious predictions that I haven't thought of which you've got in mind? Or are there any predictions here that I've mentioned which you think are absolute complete fucking bullshit? Let me know, I'd love to know. But either way, I will be watching this live myself on Wednesday the 13th of November at... oh, whatever time it is. That time. So come join me, we can all watch it together and see how wrong, or hopefully right, I was. But thanks for tuning in, guys, and until next time, hopefully Wednesday, take care.